Smuggling, tax evasion, limitation of custom taxes, some of the activities that lead to wastage of billions of dollars. The United Nations Trade and Development Conference revealed the existence of a vast system of fraud organized around exports of raw materials all over the world. We talk about this with Mr. Jean-Pierre Nkurunziza, head of the Research and Analysis Department of the CNUCED organization. How are these fraudulent activities organized? We don't use the word fraud that much. All we have done is a statistical analysis. We have seen exports declared by a country and what the partners and importers also declare. We found significant differences between the two, and we believe that in some cases they could be fraud, but we haven't gone to the extent of explaining that. The report only focuses on the extent of these differences. What differences can be explained by fraud or other phenomena? So we really prefer not to look at it as fraud. Now we must undertake much further analysis at the level of these countries that we have analyzed. Ask questions, ask the customs, for example, with whom they signed the documents for export. Go to the export companies and ask them, to whom did you sell, for example, your cocoa? Ask what quantity they purchased, etc. So it's really about a preliminary analysis which calls for further investigations to be carried out.
Now, Mr. Janvier, could you please just explain how these fraudulent circumstances are affecting, or rather they're impacting on the economies of the several countries in the continent?
We believe there could be a direct impact. For instance, if you export a product and you underestimate the quantity or even the price of that product, it means that there are taxes which were not paid. You export, for example, 100,000 barrels of oil in a month. Instead of saying that you sold 100,000 barrels, you only say half the amount. So where does the other half go? If there are taxes or fees that are related to these exports, they necessarily suffer from it. So we see an impact on the economy. Of course, there are other cases of evaluation of exports. There are countries that give incentives to exporters. So it's a rather complex phenomenon, but we've tried to simplify it, to find out to what extent this false billing has been implemented in two senses. It's a complex phenomenon for both imports and exports, for extra billing as well as underbilling. That's why each case must be deeply studied. C'est pour ça que chaque cas, franchement, doit être étudié, disons, de manière assez profonde. How can this trend be reversed?
Nous, ce qu'on a fait, franchement, c'est de déterminer les niveaux du problème.
What we've done is to determine the levels of the problem.
Qui est impliqué? Comment ça se fait?
We must now determine who is involved, how it has been done at the local level, at the customs level, for example, to the exporters, so it's at every level of the chain. Who are the stakeholders? What are the terms? Why do they do it? And with who do they do it with? I mean, the importers. So first we have to understand, and when it's done, if there are people to be blamed, and that's a real problem, to let them face their responsibilities. If there's no error and that it's a capacity problem, then they need to be reinforced. But first, understand, and each African country should make an analysis like the one that we've just carried out.
Janvier Nkunzinza talking to us from Nairobi. He works with UNCTAD, and UNCTAD just ended the summit in Nairobi just the other week.